You're listening to an Awkward Human podcast on the 5x5 network. If you want to find out more about this show and all the other cool stuff that we do, visit awkwardhuman.com. Hello and welcome to the Awkward Human Survival Guide. This week we're talking about
childhood friends with benefits,
abortion pep talks,
and emotional porn moments.
Hello and welcome to the episode. I'm Adam Dotchis.
I'm Erica Elson. Hello, Richard. I have a sore throat, and so I'm not going to try to roll it like I normally do.
That sounded exactly like you normally do it. So.
No, I did it with my tongue instead of my throat.
Who's this
totally different.
That's what she said.
And then we're also here with
Duncan
Buttersworth. He's actually right there.
Hey guys, it's great to be here.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Buttersworth. If that's your real name.
Oh, how dare you.
But it is. So we...
How dare he question who I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah, we have a lot to do today, or a various number of things to do today. And I think we'll probably start with some racism, but we also have an interview later with our super fan, Mathœyós, who's going to tell us his story since he's been around for a long time, and you probably heard him on the show, and maybe you would like to know who he is at this point. So we'll get to that later on after the questions, but first we'll start with this awkward situation that Mr. Buttersworth brought us today. What's going on?
So in the interest of time, I will try to hit the bullet points.
Oh.
So I recently went to go visit a friend of mine. We've been friends for almost 20 years, right? He's a good friend. He's one of the few people that'll send me like a birthday card, a Christmas gift, and that whole thing, right? So I go down to see him, and we might have gotten through 24 hours when I realized that I think my friend's racist. He's an actual racist, but he doesn't realize it. Okay. Nor do I think he fully considers himself to be one, but he absolutely is. And it's one of these things where I don't know, like he wasn't this way in the past, but we would walk around, we would drive, and then if someone of not a certain color skin did something that he didn't approve of, like the way they were driving or how loud they were talking or behavior or whatnot, he'd make a point of saying it. And then, you know, we would get through a part of the day where, you know, this track record just kind of was made. And it's like, this guy is a racist and he's a good friend of mine. And I don't know if I should say something to him. I don't know if he considers himself to...
And this is the first time that you noticed it?
So I've noticed a little thing here and there spanning years. So it's not something that really like tracked in my brain. But when you spend so much time around someone like nonstop, except for like sleeping and bathroom breaks, you start to like really see who they are. And my buddy, yeah, I think he has some issues. And I don't know.
And when was the last time you saw him before this?
The previous year for only.
So it's not like it had been like 5 years and some big thing had changed.
No, we had never spent this much time like this ever. And you know, there was lots of great parts about the trip, and you know, we were tired from being like on the move nonstop. It was freezing on the East Coast and all that, but yeah, he would make comment here and there, and then like you just kind of like you kind of feel the guy's vibe when he'd walk in certain, you know, parts of the town, or if you see certain people on the street, and it's like, you know, you start to be like, this guy's a fucking racist, and like I don't think he understands that he and I are not cut from the same ethnic cloth. So it was just you know, kind of weird. And then like the thing that got me, and this will sound weird unless you were there, but we were in a museum, right? And you know, we're tired in that whole thing, but we're walking out, and he and we pause. And we're figuring out what our next move is. Are we gonna go eat? Are we gonna stay here or go someplace else, etc.? And then and then there was a ticket in front of him, and the small brown kid, it might have been like 3.5. He comes over, he like, you know, he just walks over weird, and he picks up the ticket and goes, "Mister, you dropped your ticket." But he said it in such an awkward, funny kid way, and it's something that you appreciate. It's endearing, it's human, and all that stuff. And my friend just gave him this fucking look. There was this look in his eyes And I was just looking at my friend, and I'm looking down at the kid who wants nothing more than to give back this ticket he found. And then I had to grab the ticket and give it to my friend and then say, thanks, kid, thanks so much. And he runs off happy to his mom. And then my friend looks over at me and says, what a little fucking weirdo. And like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, he's like 3.5 and he thought you dropped that ticket. And the guy's got this look on his face like, like you take resting bitch face, but make it worse and make it on
Scrunch
a person.
It up a little bit.
Yes, you put it on a person who's not in resp, and then that's just how they look. And one would call that an asshole. and then he's potentially a racist person, and spend some more days down there. And eventually, I came back home, and I couldn't wait to just like. Wash that off me. You don't want that like vibe to hit your soul. So what do I do?
Does this friend wear a white polo, khakis, and hold a tiki torch?
No, he does not do that.
Okay, then he's not an organized racist.
No, he's not an organized individual for those things. But the manner of dress, right? He does wear chinos in khaki color and polos and kind of that whole thing. But I don't know. But. Yeah, so do I talk to the guy and be like, hey, are you aware of the fact that you're kind of a little racist over here, pal? Like, what do you say to this? Or do you just like acknowledge that, or do you take, option B, the passive way through this whole thing and kind of like just, you talk to him here and there, but no more trips. You think of excuses. You blame it on work and money, and then like hopefully the situation just so many days and weeks and months pass that you forget about it. But then that's still kind of in your head that this guy that you've known for almost 20 years is a certain way and is a certain way that can't be acceptable to people who care about people.
So the SJW in me says, the social justice warrior in me says that you need to confront the friend and maybe question him a little and ask him like, do you have a problem with people who are not white?
But what's the best outcome there? Because one version, if he's like, hey, I think you're racist, is me like, nope, absolutely not. You're fucking crazy. Of course I'm not racist. And the other one is him being like, yeah, no, I am. Those are two very likely options.
Oh, can we talk about both of these? Because I think both are hilarious.
Because, like, one is him being, like, accusing you of lying or, like, of misinterpreting the situation, and then that's not going to end well for the friendship. And then the other one is, like, he is a racist, and he's just okay with it.
Yeah.
And, well, I mean, is there time to talk about each of these options?
Yeah.
So for like the first one, so let's say dude's like, nope, I'm not. And then can I be like, do you remember that time that little kid just tried to return the ticket to the museum?
Is racist but is not is in denial about it or is lying about it or whatever, he's gonna come up with an excuse for all those things. He'll be like, oh, I just don't like toddlers. He was being weird.
But, like, the thing is, if he has that response of, like, no, I'm not racist, if you kind of point out, like, these things seem racist, he could probably, if he's aware enough or, like, conscious enough to think about what he's doing and be like, oh, maybe
that's the best case scenario. That's option C, which I'm just saying is not the most likely option. I'm saying he might just be like fine with being racist.
Yeah, and then you just stop talking to him.
So he would be like, no, fuck you, I'm not racist.
So then, if he, let's say he is racist, and confirms it, or B, denies it and gets mad at me. I mean, what's the ultimate goal for me? Do I just take that card out of the deck and like?
I never put it back in. It depends on how close you are to him and how you would feel not being his friend
how
anymore
much
and
you
not
care
receiving
about,
a happy birthday card every year.
Your friendship versus society, I guess. If you think you can have a good impact on society at the risk of completely losing the friendship, then that's a move you can make. If you think it's not going to matter and you're just going to fuck up your friendship with this dude anyways and he's just going to be the same that he is, then it's up to you if you want to have that conversation or not.
That's a good point. And now there's a separate a separate POV on the whole thing is, do I not think and talk it to death and simply at the right time, right? Because life is about timing and tact. Do you at the right time say, dude, I kind of feel like you're a little racist, or that's just me? You know what I mean? Like,
so
if I do that.
But I don't think it's something you could just be like, hey, I think you're kind of racist. A little. Right.
I think that's closer to what you want to get to. I mean, I would say that it's something that you want to point out in the moment, because otherwise he's going to be able to remember it differently and rationalize it the way that he wants. But instead of pointing out like that he's racist, this goes back to a conversation Erica and I were having on Friday about asking a question, or the Socratic method of getting someone to think by asking them what they think about that instance. And so that may be like something more that you have to figure out what that question is in the moment. But
if it is in the moment too, I think it would make more sense to point out the specificity of the phrase he's using than be like, hey, I think you're racist. Maybe like, hey, the way you said that sounded kind of racist.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you can ask like, you can question, like, oh, why did you say that kid was weird, or why did you say whatever, sometimes it's going to be so explicit that probably is like, you can't be like,
like why'd you call that black person the N-word?
Yeah, you almost didn't say N-word there, didn't you?
No, I was absolutely in my head saying N-word.
I mean, it's
not
all...
the N-word, just N-word. Quotations, N-word.
And like, if I were to like proactively say something, I feel like I've got to like there's a ticking clock on this, because if it goes 4 months and I'm like, remember the time?
He's absolutely going to deny that, or just not even think that it happened.
Yeah.
If he's not aware of it, he might just be like, no, you're remembering that differently.
Yeah. Is he like, and I look at him and I know the family, like, they're all really nice to me, right? What I'm realizing is that because they're of a certain ethnic background, and they're all about that specific ethnic background and what it entails to kind of be like, and this is what we are. Like, there's so much that if they're around something that's not quite that, it's not like they hate the other thing that's out there. It's just that thing is not like their thing. Mm-hmm. So then it becomes like a narcissistic kind of, kickback, knee jerk to who they are. Does that make any sense?
You could use the word xenophobic to like tone it down a little bit.
What word?
Xenophobic.
What does that mean?
It means afraid of other races.
Well, I don't think it's not racist. It's just other people, like strange people that you don't know.
But
people
I guess
who are not like you,
like
though.
One thing to think about is
strangers.
If you were to stay his friend, not say anything whatsoever, and he comes to visit, what if you have like a girlfriend or something who is not white or whatever?
Well,
and
Duncan isn't even white.
Oh, well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like if you have like
I would say he doesn't even need a girlfriend.
No. I'm saying like if you have, because he's clearly okay with you.
Yeah.
So if you had like a black girlfriend, let's say, and he came to visit, would you want that black girlfriend around your friend?
Good point. Now, I'm just to talk about something that you triggered in my brain. So we're at a bar, and then he sees this really attractive woman, like, her body was great, and that whole thing. So he sees her, and then we leave the bar, etc., and then he started talking about, did you see that girl, like that black girl? Like, he was like very making a point of saying that she's black, and then he went and told the story to like 3 more people, like individual sets, and then he's like, yeah, and she was black. And it was just like, it was one of those things, but not like bad, but like I saw the most attractive black girl, like making a point of saying it, but like
that she was black, and that's like
just like something of note. Attracted to a black girl?
Yes, I legitimately think it's like, oh my god, like I had this moment, or like physical
like
feeling for a black girl, right? Yeah, like that's like that, and then it's like,
I find that weird though, because not to bring up slavery, but I don't know how else to go about that one. Like there was slave rape, so clearly, the asshole shitty slave owners were not didn't think slavery was bad enough, so they fucking raped people or women pretty much. I don't know if there was like gay rape in slavery.
Probably was.
Yeah,
I can imagine that there wasn't.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I guess if it's like what Rule 37, not literally, because we're not talking about porn, but if you can come up with it, it's probably happened. Humans get around.
I guess you're gonna have to really go home, sit in this, and think about it, right?
I think I am too. And like the thing is, my friends in a different time zone, so we talk maybe
and a different timeline.
A different time
He's
zone.
in America's timeline right now.
Yeah, and it's just it's also wild. Like it's just wild when you spend so much time around a person and not like here and there on the phone. Then you clearly see the stuff they don't present you with, and make a point of being like you just observe the creature in its habitat, and it's just it teaches you so much. And
so do we think that Duncan needs to see the friend again to call him out on the racism?
No, because Duncan's probably not going to see him for at least a few months, so maybe he'll talk to him on the phone and just bring it up if he decides to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you wait till the next opportunity.
I will. Yeah.
But, I mean, like, don't avoid him or anything. I don't think that's a good idea.
No.
Or maybe
agree.
when he calls, you just pick up and go, "You're a racist," and then like hang up.
Archie, I can't talk right now. And then you hang up the phone. Archie
Right.
Bunker.
Yeah.
For those who didn't know.
You didn't out your friend by accident. So that's good.
I have another awkward thing that we didn't talk about.
Do you want to bring it up right now?
No, I'll come back in the future as a guest. I'll keep this for springtime.
Are you sure? Because now everyone's going to be wondering what you're talking about.
No.
You at least give a preview or something.
Oh, I don't know if I can. Oh,
say
so
something.
the funny thing is, so it's a version of awkward, but it's like tact. So this dude who used to be a supervisor of me and some others, he outed one of the people at a bar and said, "You're gay, right?" And it was just this really awkward thing for the guy, and he's like, "Yes, I'm gay," and he had to like explain a bit, like not quite like The Office when Michael you see The Office,
No.
a little help here, when Michael so it's
right.
not quite as bad as that, but like he there's like a handful of us, and then he in the middle of things when he has the whole floor is like, you're gay, right? But like just in kind of a very weird way to like point something out, as if like say you're in a room and everyone is one ethnic background, and then the person says, "So are you this?" You know what I mean? It was just like, and it's something that every time I see him, he brings it up. Like the guy is half amused by the situation, but half like, like that's a little awkward and kind of fucked up of you to like, make a point of making me talk about something that shouldn't even be a point of talking about it. It's just like, and that person happens to be that. Like it's not a talking point. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know.
I was in a cab in Boston once, and the cab driver asked me, "Are you Chinese or Japanese?"
Okay.
And I don't remember what I answered, and I'm not sure what I would answer now. I would answer now neither. I'm neither of those. But why are you asking me that? It was a weird thing to ask, but I get confused for an Asian person a lot for some reason, because I don't really think that. But I've had a Chinese person think I was part Chinese before, so I don't know. Everyone's always confused what I am. But I don't think I look like enough of anything other than, like, I guess a white guy to point that out. Although some people have guessed things about my heritage that I didn't know. Like, I have a very small amount of Scottish blood in me, and someone asked me if you have Scottish blood in you because I noticed some face features or something at one point, and that happened to be true. But there were... Yeah, but I actually don't really know what I am other than what my DNA test says, and it is 1% or less Southeast Asian. So I guess there's a little in there, but it's mostly just Ashkenazi Jew. That's just all in there. I got a good amount of Neanderthal though.
Yeah, I did not know exactly what you were.
I don't know exactly what I am.
So you did the Ancestry.com or...
Oh, no, I did 23andMe, and I did it for health stuff before
Okay.
they kind of locked that down, although they're unlocking it now. I'm not sure what the difference is between doing it now and doing it when I did it, except that I definitely have everything. I know that much. Before what is it? Not FDA got involved. There's so many Fs.
Duncan, didn't you once ask Adam if he was half Japanese?
You did?
I think people told me that he was half Japanese. I was under the assumption that
conversation
people
where you
were talking about
like,
this.
You were like, aren't you half? Like, you weren't like, hey, you're half Japanese, but you were like,
Yeah,
aren't
I'm
you half Japanese?
almost
because
positive
you were
that-
talking about like, I don't know, something Japanese related, and Adam was like, no, and he was like, oh, are you have something else then that I don't know? And you were like, no, I'm not Asian at all, and Duncan was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
you were like blown.
I believe that because that's how I react to somebody.
yeah.
I
It does
feel
sound
like
like
in
you.
film school, people told me that you were like Japanese than something else. So I think that's kind of the
people
assumption.
talking about this though? Like, why do they care?
Because people talk.
It just
people
you
talk
know,
about
to
it.
I don't
fill
talk
the
about
time.
what race people are. Like, for what purpose would you need to know that? I mean, I guess I have, like, when I did need to know it for some reason, but generally speaking,
No, it's just people talk. That's it. I don't think it's anything you need to like look deep
think
into.
it's- because
No,
I
I
feel
think
like
it's weird.
you've got a slight exotic like
It's the eyes.
element about you.
I guess. I mean, that would it's. I can't say that's not true because it seems to be how people react.
It's the eyes and the
It's just-
cheekbones.
I guess so.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to questions.
Yeah, I think it's time for some questions.
Our first question comes from
Erica, you know how this
You
goes.
did it so quickly, though.
What? No, well, I realized.
You said it's time
that
for
I
some
was
questions.
premature. Yeah, that was to tell you not to talk. But all right,
that's what you get for that.
let's shut up and do the little question intro.
Bye.
Here we go. All right. So if you didn't catch that, 509 Awkward is the number to call or text. Awkward.email is the place to send your questions in. And the first question, Erica, you're getting a break today. I'm reading 2 and you're only reading 1.
No, it says I'm reading this question.
Oh, wait, no, you're reading. Sorry, I'm reading the long one and you're reading 2. I got that mixed up.
I should have just started reading this 2 minutes
You
ago.
should just start reading
Mom,
it now.
40s, asks,
Mom?
Mom,
Mom.
Mom,
Mom.
I am a mother who is sampling opinions. My son is 15 and has 2 friends with benefits that I know of.
What?
As a mother, I feel like I want to super glue his pants on him for the rest of his life. As a woman or human being, I know better. I need to talk to my boy about this so I know he's treating the girls with respect and doing it safe. I'm concerned that a teenage boy will trigger emotions if I do, and I'll sign him up for a monastery. Please tell me how you would want your mother to have this very awkward talk with you. Yes, I know want is a very strong word.
Did you say street girls? No, right?
No.
What girl? What?
Friends with benefits.
Oh,
Just
that-
2 friends with benefits.
2 friends with benefits. I'm sorry.
Street girls.
I thought she
how
said
he's treating the girls.
how he's treating the girls, not street girls.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
like,
I would
oh.
worry about that. I would worry about protection and
He's
pregnancy.
15, she said?
He's 15.
Ooh.
This is a tough one because I can't think of any. I mean, I can say it's easier to say what I wouldn't want in that conversation. I would want it to be relatively brief because, like, when I came out to my parents and they're like, "Don't get AIDS, use a condom," and then went on about that for like 3 hours because they were worried and they didn't know what to do. I kind of like blindsided them at night. So I don't say this out of anger or frustration with how they reacted. So much as it's like it's a hard thing to react to immediately. You have premeditation here. You can think about this in advance and what you want to say and do and so on and know to some degree. But I think that in general, I just would want to, I guess, not feel like you're prying too much into my life and I'm having to think about you and sex at the same time so much, maybe.
Well, okay, so I was going to ask, did she write in there how she knows that he has 2
No.
friends with benefits?
Maybe he brings them over.
Like, maybe he's having sex with him in the house while she's there. I don't know. But anyway, I think if were it to be me, like, my parents never had any important conversations with me as a kid. So I don't know what that would be. But were it to be me, I think I'd just want it to be very to the point and frank. Like,
Yeah.
just approach him and say, hey, I know this is probably going to be uncomfortable, but we have to talk about this. Use condoms and, whatever you're going to say to him, but don't, like, drag it out and make it into this whole thing, and don't, I don't know. I think he would appreciate it if you were just honest and be like, this is going to be uncomfortable maybe, but you this is something you have to know and something that I, as a parent, feel like I have to tell you. So just bear with it for a while or whatever.
Yeah, and just, I mean, I think it sounds like you don't want to, I guess, shame him into not doing it. I think you just want him to be respectful, which is great. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and that's the right approach to have. So it's, in terms of our opinions that are being sampled here, I think in general, it's more of, I mean, like, I think Richard kind of nailed it there. It's really it's just tell him in the way Richard said, and be, specific about how, like, you're not trying to stop his behavior, I guess, unless you are, in which case then you're going to do
I think she feels like she's worried that she will try to stop his behavior.
Yeah. I mean, maybe don't let him talk too much.
Well, I think I would want to feel like my best interests are at heart. Mm-hmm. So, like...
Well, you would want to feel as the son? That his best...
Like, that she's talking to me because she wants to make sure that I'm okay and that the people I'm with are okay, and not because of what she thinks. So, like, if you approach it from a point of view of, like, here's what I am worried about for you, and I want to make sure that this is all okay, and not anything about, like, I don't think you should be doing this, or, like, whatever. Like, if you approach it as a positive, like, I'm looking out for you type thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's okay if she were to be honest and say, like, if it were up to me, you wouldn't have sex ever. But I know that's not the case, right. And I know this is something that's natural and blah, 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 and I just want to let you know what the facts are so that you're careful and, you're protected emotionally as well as physically and blah, blah, blah.
And this is going to be over very quickly, so don't worry.
Yeah. But I don't think there's anything wrong with her just being straightforward and being like, as a mother, I don't want you doing this at all.
I guess I'm just saying, as a kid, I would want to know that she's coming at this because she cares about me and she wants everything to be okay.
Yeah, and I think
not
that's
because there's judgment or anything like that.
Right, and I think that's why it would be okay for her to just be straightforward and be like, as your mother, like, this is how I feel. However, as a human being, this is the stuff you need to know.
As a mother, I feel like, Miss, you should be very thankful that the situation is going on and you can play your part to help it, because I'm sure you're going to want grandkids at some point in your life, one. And then two...
And he's going to know what he's doing to make those grandkids.
No, but there's the point of view of you don't want your son to marry and have children with the wrong woman. And the sooner he's out there just talking and articulating with different females, the more he gets a better idea of himself, what he wants, etc. And we're thinking he'll eventually have made a better choice because he was at this for more time before he settled down and gave you the right grandkids mom. And all you have to do is tell the kid to wear a condom and don't trust those... don't trust,
Duncan, that is such a sleazy way to explain something good.
I don't think that's sleazy at all. I think it's a great thing. I resent you using the word sleazy. I think this is a practical approach, and you're being a good mom by thinking about this. And to echo what the three of you were saying, you have to use protection and all that, and you got to look in the grand scheme of things. I think sleazy is the wrong word.
You're going to be finding all these girls and practicing.
No, but there's something to be said here, because it's a practical teaching moment. You don't want your kid going and doing a lot of terrible things. Obviously, that's not to say that what he's doing is terrible, but there are obviously, as you're concerned about, versions of sexual activity with teenagers that can be good or bad. So if you have, if you're talking about it, it's every time something like this comes up and you have an opportunity to discuss it, not that you want to talk to him about every sex moment in his life or anything like that, but, knowing about it, being able to have an open conversation, getting used to being comfortable about it is a way to, one, make these conversations easier in the future. Also, it's a means of being able to disseminate, that's not a great word to use here, but information to your kid at those times. It's like when they skin their knee or a bully beats them up and you comfort them or whatever. If those things happen, those are also teachable moments, but they're a moment where you get to care. And I think we have this uncomfortable, everyone seems to have a comfortable time talking to their kids or most people about sexual stuff or certain topics. But a lot of, they're not necessarily different from a care moment, I guess. And so, if you look at it as like you're doing this to take care of him, and you're coming from that mindset like you would if you were trying to soothe him from something bad that was happening. In this case, it's not something bad that's happening necessarily. And hopefully in general, it's a positive, but also, for him to have the practice with sex or whatever, and also going into it, learning how to treat women well, or anyone well for that matter. That's, that bodes well for his future relationships, and not him being one of the types that abuse power and molest people and so on. Like, no one wants that to happen, I think, hopefully. But yeah.
Also, as awkward as it may be, I don't think your son's ever gonna look back and be like, "Oh, I wish my mom had never talked to me about sex." Yeah, no one thinks that.
I'm glad my parents talked to me about sex. We started when I was really young, and at 3, I've said this a million times, but I had the book Where Did I Come From, and they explained sex to me when I was really, really young. I never found it weird. I never really had a problem talking to them about it. The only time I didn't like talking about it was in 4th grade, was because they started talking to us about it, and we had just had sex ed, and I don't think they really noticed that we had just had sex ed, and so I had just been through the whole thing, and so I was just bored and didn't want to have the discussion again with them after we had just gone over the whole thing. But other than that, I didn't mind because they started young. I think that's the problem, is you gotta hook kids while they're young with the sex talk or something. Mm-hmm. The cartoon book. But
good luck, Mom.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine.
Let us know how it goes. Let us know all the mistakes you made.
Yeah, we'll make sure not to make them with our kids that we'll never have.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Erica's gonna have a kid real soon.
Yeah, Erica, we'll screw up Erica's kid.
Oh, boy.
Erica will pop one out in the next 5 years.
Erica, when you have the baby born, I'm just gonna be waving deep dick and Derek.
Oh boy, are you gonna be in the room?
Well, not while it's coming out. I don't ever want to see that again. Not to anybody.
That's what you made it sound like.
No, I'll come in after it's popped out of you, and
good. So the baby
sealed up the vagina.
Deep dick and Derek.
Yeah, I'll be like coochie coo. It's across the room. It's by that camera over there. I'd go get it if it wasn't such a pain in the butt. But we should move on and help Jenny out here. I'm very curious how you guys are going to react to this question. So
read it.
All right. Well, Jenny, who is a 22-year-old straight female with apparently some nasal issues, according to Erica, asks, "Aloha, awkwards, I need help. Getting it out of the way, I have an asshole boyfriend who got me pregnant. I'm scared of abortions, no problem with morals, but I grew up in a family with some good riddance. So that did a number on me. Lots of pro-life talk around the table. My dad said shit about abortions like it's coat hanger suicide and they use a pussy vacuum to suck out the baby's soul. That's nightmare feed now, thanks Dad. Not my boyfriend's fault for getting me pregnant. We both got fucked up and fucked without condoms, so yeah, but he's in the don't abort, don't support camp. I haven't heard that one before. Since he's got a job and grad school to do, so no time for being a dad, but is all anti-abortion too. Okay. Good fucking grief. This kind of sounds like Mathœyós. I don't think my kid needs a dad if I have it, but it needs money. My job's okay, but I don't have money to buy a life for kitty, for a kitty, save a human kid. Erica, have you had abortions?
Jesus.
That's why I needed to read this one. so I could say that to you. Erica, have you had abortions? How do you get over the pussy vacuum nightmare?
More than one.
Immediately use an ass. No parentheses.
Yeah. Have you had an abortion? No. Have you had abortions?
Well, if you've had one abortion, you would definitely go back for more.
That's the only reason I don't have a kid right now is my multiple abortions.
Yeah.
She's got a punch card and everything.
Yeah. How do you get over the pussy vacuum nightmares, Erica?
There's several due to my multiple abortions.
I don't want to be a shit mom, but if honest, the real carrot is that abortion would get back at my boyfriend. All right.
Jesus.
Yeah, we
don't have a kid.
We haven't broken up. It's some toxic shit right now. Yeah, seriously. Give me an abortion pep talk, please.
I feel like as the woman in the room, I should start.
Yeah,
the woman who's had multiple abortions and nightmares about it.
Assumed abortions. Yeah, I mean,
first off,
I felt like we were never gonna have
Jenny,
anything new again, but Jesus.
First off, fucking get rid of this guy. Oh my god. Forget the toxic shit. There should be no shit. He should be out of your life. He doesn't want you to have an abortion, but he doesn't want to support the kid, and he doesn't want to be a dad. So that's a catch-22, so you can get rid of him because he's neither here nor there. Irrelevant. Second of all, I have not had a single or multiple abortions. Despite the somewhat crazy nature of your question, I will say I do completely understand where you're coming from, though. I'm 100% pro-choice, but I would feel extremely uncomfortable having an abortion myself. This is something I struggle with often.
She could think of the abortion like breaking up with her boyfriend. She can abort her relationship and then abort the child.
I mean, I would definitely start with getting rid of the boyfriend. That needs to happen today.
Maybe you could just invite him over. I mean, none of this aloha is advice that I mean seriously. I'm just being silly, but you could say like, oh, it's a surprise party, and then have him go into like the back of the abortion clinic or something, and then all of a sudden the baby's getting sucked out, and you can be like, fuck you, asshole.
Do they still?
I feel like that's what she wants
like
to
that?
do. I don't know what they do.
First of all,
don't do that.
Or
but
did
I
they
feel
ever?
like that's what you're. I feel that's what she's asking for. Like she wants to figure out how to prank abortion him. Or, I don't even know how to say that.
If they are sucking it, they're not sucking the soul out, and it's not a pussy vacuum.
Yeah, Erica, how does it work?
I don't know exactly where we are now with abortion technology.
I know they have pills.
How does it work, Dr. Death?
I'm pretty sure you can just take a pill, but either way, you should not be thinking of it as the soul of the baby being sucked out of your pussy.
That's what her dad said.
I know, but that's what her nightmares are.
You can't control your nightmares.
I'm just saying, like, I don't. Let's try and stop thinking of it that way. But
no, that's fair.
But yeah, I completely understand, because it's like it really has nothing to do with your morals, because it has to do with what you want to do with your body. Like, you can be totally in favor of other people getting abortions and not want them. I mean, I feel like it's the same way you can be like, oh, I love gay people, I'm not gay. You know, like, you can feel that way but not want that for yourself. So if you, like, 100% don't want to get an abortion, it's completely your right to not do that, whether or not you agree with the practice of them.
And you can
I
always
agree
put
with
it up
her.
for adoption.
What's this girl's name?
Jenny. But the
Jenny,
have nothing
this
to do
is
with your
Duncan.
decision.
Jenny, this is Duncan. I think you should abort your
Oh.
immediate surroundings for a few days, go someplace else, breathe new air,
Maybe go to a
and
spa.
use your eyes
That seems to be
use your eyes to land on some other guy, and then hopefully that's just
And then they can
not
raise the baby
toxic, because the
together?
word toxic isn't good. What?
And then they can raise the baby together?
What? She's pregnant?
She's pregnant.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought this was a hypothetical pregnancy.
What?
No.
Why do you make you think
okay.
it's hypothetical?
No, wait. So I'm gonna keep everything I said, but let me agree with everything Miss Erica said. And then once you've done what you want to do, and I feel like there's a right choice here, then you should go someplace else for a few days and fall in love with someone who's not toxic.
Go on a
Or
yoga
be
retreat.
your own woman and do what you want to do in your new single life, because you need to get rid of this asshole boyfriend.
I think I said that, except I endorse a vacation.
You endorse for falling in love with someone else.
so-
You don't need to fall in love with
She
someone else.
always worth
I
wants
go on
vacations.
vacation,
Erica,
but just meant for go on vacation.
everyone says break up with the guy.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't say
Wait,
that, but
hold on. One thing just before we get off the topic of what was
Abortions?
No. What was the thing? The pussy vacuum. A soul. This baby soul. Okay, so one thing that might help is if you look at the science of how pregnancy works. A baby. Yeah, sorry. This one's a quick one. The baby is basically an organ until it comes out of you. When you give birth, it activates stuff and the baby becomes alive and is a human being. It's not that it's not alive before, but it's alive like, a kidney is alive. So in that sense, it's not a baby in the way that a baby outside of your body is a baby. The baby is not really a living, breathing human child in the way that you look at it or anyone looks at it until it is ejected from your womb and comes into the world and all that. So don't worry, the soul's not coming out. The soul isn't attached. If we're believing in souls here, there's not a soul attached to your kidney, so presumably there's not I don't know, science and religion don't work
maybe
that well together.
Weigh the pros and cons, figure out the best decision for you, and if the ultimate answer is that you do not want to raise a kid right now, unfortunately abortion is the solution to that, but you are not so much choosing abortion.
I would agree so far, except I would say that if her morals say that she cannot do this thing,
it's not moral though. She said it's completely aside from the morals.
Well, okay, fine. If it's not a morals thing, but like if she thinks that in her head she can't do this thing, whether it's fear or whatever, then if she can come up with like maybe carry the baby to term and then give it up for adoption,
sure.
then that is your other option. But if you need to decide whether or not you think you can have a baby
that's
and
what
raise
I'm
it on your own.
saying is like put the other stuff aside and decide if you can have this baby or not, because that's the most important thing that you need to figure out for yourself.
And the other thing to weigh is that like this man that you seem to not really enjoy very much is gonna be in your life forever.
Yeah,
after this,
that's a good point.
He doesn't want to see the baby or give money to the baby.
He doesn't. He won't have a choice. The government will come and
but
take
that's
his
why
This is true.
She should be like, let's say there was no man and she had to do it on her own. Is that something that she would want to and be able to do financially and like fucking physically and like I mean she's 22. Physically. Like, does she have a job? Is she able to work and be a single mom?
She doesn't make.
Is she able to pay for childcare? If she does work, is that going to zap her entire salary? Like, figure all that shit out and then come back to like, what are the options if I don't want to raise the baby?
This is a very practical answer, Erica.
Well, I mean, if she's freaking out about the pussy vacuum, I think she needs to take a step back and like do the practical
That's a horrible
stuff.
word, yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think you're right.
to
Practicality is the way to go. No, I'm saying it's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we all agree.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The tone of my voice sometimes comes across as negative when I'm totally agreeing with you.
Yeah, and then once you've made that decision, go on a yoga retreat like Duncan has suggested.
Or go to like Prague.
Oh,
that
or
would
just
be a
take a
expensive
vacation
compared to like weekend.
Yes,
an hour away
it might
yoga.
be. She might have airline miles,
go to Tuscany,
and it might be okay. She might have a friend there.
An Italian man.
Most 22-year-olds have a ton of airline miles from all their business traveling that they did pre-college,
or all their personal traveling
that they did alone,
and all the traveling they did when they were studying abroad. Why are we talking about?
I don't think she has a bunch of miles, Duncan. I don't think she's sitting around miles.
You don't know. She might have miles.
You know what, Jenny? If you have a million miles, I apologize, and I'm wrong.
Well, what's our last question?
Our last question comes from Saki.
Ooh.
Oh, right.
Saki, no last name.
Sacky.
Uh-huh. No last name, no capitals in this question.
Okay.
You ever cry when you masturbate? I cried just with some lazy prune last night. Meant porn.
I'm sorry, did you say masturbate or masturbat?
It was masturbate. It was during pussy eating. I came and cried before. Was it beauty or sadness? I don't know. What's wrong with me?
That sounds like how his babby made.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
that is the whole question.
Yeah, that is the whole
no
question.
Last name,
That's
no
a
caps.
great question.
Thanks, Saki.
No, I cry
Saki
after I
too.
masturbate.
Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Were you
I don't know
masturbating
you.
during Coco or something?
No. I never
I
cry
hope not. That would really kind of take away from
during
the movie.
or after a masturbation session.
I don't think I've ever... Well, I don't cry that a whole lot.
I used to feel very depressed after a hookup.
I think
Well,
if
that's
I
normal.
started
Yeah.
crying, I would stop masturbating. I think that would be my approach.
Yeah. Or is this person crying? Well, I guess we don't know, but you could be crying of like joy, of happiness, of
Was
like
it
relief.
the porn that
He
made
doesn't
her
know.
cry? Or, it's a he? I thought it was a she.
It sounded
oh,
like
I don't know. I mean,
This
Saki.
person-
I don't know what Saki implies.
I don't know. I
Nutsack
was
or
thinking of like Sally, Sassy, Susie.
Saki.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
a common
all the common ones.
I
girl's
guess it could also be close to Zachy, so it could be a guy.
Yeah.
They just got non-creative on that
well,
one. Yeah.
I would really like help if you specified your gender because
what is it? So
I don't
is
know.
well, so they're
Well, maybe they're
they have
gender
no
non-conforming.
Saki, I think that's a man.
No, that's a very gender non-conforming name. I think that.
But it
is
would
what
help us
this
interpret the
person
way
is.
they masturbate and the emotions that
I just
they
have
feel.
a. I guess it's.
I
I have a
don't
hard
think that's
time.
a real name.
I have
Unless
a hard,
they're like ripping up your genitals, and that's why you're crying.
You know, I have a hard time imagining a woman writing those sentences.
Yeah, I think this is easily a
lesbian
man.
porn.
We've had women write this way before, and we've had lesbians who
I
watch
thought Diamond
lesbian
was
porn.
much more articulate.
I don't know if a woman
Oh,
will use the word
Diamond.
lesy porn though. Perhaps.
Yeah, well,
not.
I think a woman would use the word lesbian.
Well, lesy prune is how they wrote it.
Right.
Prune.
PRN.
That's the best kind.
I assume that's got to be a typo.
So do we all say no? We've never cried while masturbating.
I cry during other things.
Yeah, no, I'm a crier in movies, but not in masturbation.
I mean, I'm not. I don't want to be wrong. I'm not trying to hide if I cried during masturbating. I just can't remember ever doing it. I wish I cried more. I'm not very good at it.
It would just kind of take away from the moment for me, and I would pause and reassess what's going on.
Yeah,
as a healthy human being would do.
I mean, Saki. I think what it comes down to.
Saki.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
You're saying saggy.
No, I said Saki.
No, he said Saki.
Oh, it sounded like a
like
sag.
knapsack.
Like saggy
what if it
boobs.
was a pseudonym for saggy boobs? Yeah.
No, it's not. It's for saggy, for like sack, like sacky.
Maybe like balls. Yeah.
Balls.
Maybe,
How did you guys not realize that?
oh,
means
maybe they have
balls.
like really.
I said testicles
Sacky
earlier.
instead of
Oh, I didn't
balls.
hear
Yeah,
that.
he
Maybe
did.
they have like
Okay,
really
so
tiny
it's a
balls
man,
and
it's a
a
man.
huge sack.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Saggy
Saki,
balls. That's what they're
Saki,
talking about.
I'm gonna do this. Saki, I don't remember what I was gonna say now. I think if you're, how do you feel afterwards? That like you're crying, you're saying like, oh, my eyes are leaking, but what are you feeling in your heart? You know what you're feeling in your dick. You know what you're feeling on your face. Or your vagina, yeah, if it's that, or
the way Erica says,
or something else. If you're not
or both, if you aren't,
maybe you're not human. I don't know. But
yes.
maybe Saki is just your race. What are you, Saki? What are you?
He is actually a
maybe Saki, you need to look inside yourself.
Maybe he works at Saks Fifth Avenue, so he's a Saki.
I don't like that explanation.
Well, thanks, Erica.
I think that's all we have to say to you, unfortunately.
Yeah, all right.
Best of luck.
Yes, and now it's time for our interview.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. We are talking to Mathœyós today, and you may have remembered him from other shows, but he's been around for so long and had so much to do with the podcast, this one and Supercharged, that we wanted to get the whole story because I don't think everybody knows it, and he does. So we got him in over Skype right here or something. I don't know how we ended up getting this to work today because the video is kind of weird, but Mathœyós, hello and welcome.
Hi, good to be here.
So I think the first time we talked was on Twitter.
Yeah,
that
would be about right.
Yeah, I think I sent you some stuff. Some of the leftover, what do you call it? Technology that I had from the Lifehacker days.
Yeah.
And then I guess we've been kind of talking on and off from there through the podcast and so on. And you've had a lot of interesting challenges in life, I guess you could put it. I'm curious, how did you get to the place you are now? I mean, like, what have you been struggling with? What's the whole story there?
Ever since like June or August, and August, I was fine, but now muscle waste had gotten really bad. Like, ignore the dry hands, but I can't even hold like chopsticks correctly anymore. It's really, really bad, and I'm since I'm near 30, a lot of patients when they're near 30, they start to get a lot of really bad muscle wasting, like really, really bad. I have cystinosis.
Well, on the plus side, though, at least you could hold chopsticks at one point, whereas Erica has never been able
Okay,
to do it.
I have a method that works for me. I could hold them the other way, but it doesn't get the rice to my mouth as efficiently.
Her method for carrying sushi, I think, contributed to our slow wait staff experience last night at All You Can Eat Sushi. She holds it like a weirdo.
She does.
I think we need to back up for a second, though. What causes muscle wasting, and what is the condition that you have, Mathœyós?
You said cystinosis.
Yeah.
But what, for people who don't know what that word means, what is that?
It's a lysomal storage disease, basically, and that translation is that all of my cells don't process cysteine correctly. So I have to take cysteamine to fix that. Eye drops every hour, medication every 6 hours, and other times can't take the calcium at the same time as the phosphorus because that was cause kidney stones. It's a very, very rare condition. Most of us are blonde-haired and blue-eyed and pale, except obviously for this one kid in Africa. But it's a very rare condition. Most of us, it affects each of us in different ways. A lot of us are worse off than I am because some of us don't take their medications. They just decide not to take their medications and they wonder why they're pretty much in the shithole.
So is the medication the only thing that you can really do at this juncture to deal with it? I mean, like, how does that all work? And because you said it was, I mean, I imagine it's not the best thing to hear when they say they can't do anything about it, but they're giving you medication. There are no other treatments. They haven't kind of figured out how to deal with this yet.
I do exercise. I get up at 6:30, shower, all that crap, and then I do my morning exercises, exercise my lungs. These are sort of empty, but all three of these are normally full of pills.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
So
of
that's
pills.
that's 1 day's worth of medication that I have to go through.
Yeah, that looks like 3 week things. I mean, things for 3 weeks worth of medication.
Yeah, no, it is. There's no treatment for the muscle wasting. The doctor said, "Oh yeah, you won't need a kidney transplant for 20 years because that's the other treatment." And now I'm thinking, "Oh, good, I won't need new kidneys, but I'll basically be a torso in a chair. Like I can't. This is not sustainable. There's so much muscle wasting. I have to wear these at night on my hands so that they don't
dog chews.
Yeah, they're splints.
Do you think that is it possible that in the future they'll be able to do something to give you, I guess, more? I mean, you might be able to rebuild the muscle if they have a new treatment in the future, or is it like once it's gone, it's gone?
Well, they actually have a cure now, but it's like a 50-50% chance of death.
Oh.
And they haven't been doing any more research on it because the organizations that are supposed to raise money for it are too busy competing to get people for their conferences. They're not concentrating on a cure. So supposedly gene therapy would help, and once that's reversed, you can build muscles up like a normal person.
So is there hope that maybe in the future it will be something that you can, I guess, partake in when it's maybe you're less likely to die?
I mean, I hope so. At this point, I don't know if it'll be funded because nobody's putting money towards it. They're putting money toward conferences because they think having conferences and acting like everything's normal, disease for some reason won't progress as normal, because why would it ever progress as normal when you're not paying attention to it and doing the right things?
I mean, what do you do to, I guess, maintain a better quality of life despite the challenges that you've had?
I went to the first convention, the Doctor Who convention, which was a big part of my life up until now because they're on hiatus, unfortunately. LongIslandWho.com for more information about that. And now, basically, just try to live my life. People say, "Oh, you're so brave," and I feel like saying, "What other fucking choice do I have? It's either be brave, or have a dark sense of humor, or curl up in a ball and die." I mean, I try to help people out. Like I was in Philadelphia last year, and I had to go to eat, and this homeless guy, I saw him on the way there, and I gave him a couple bus tokens, saw him on the way back, and I was like, "Hey, do you like Chinese food?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Come on, let's go." So I bought him dinner. I try to be helpful, but sometimes I can't afford to go out much. I can't afford really to go pretty much anywhere except for my appointments and the pharmacy. I just try to find pleasure in Schadenfreude, and that's pretty much it.
But you also listen to a lot of podcasts. I think there was something. I think one of the starting points was Darren's sassy black lady voice. Was that one of the items?
Yeah, one of my friends explained to me that was slightly offensive. So
everything Darren does is slightly offensive.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
But I can't do the voice properly, and I was informed by my friend that it's considered offensive. So I decided
everything is offensive.
Try.
It's okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think that it's weird because I don't know. Voices are very funny, and
it's definitely a stereotype.
Yeah, it's not. It's like I don't want to make fun of anybody because of how they talk in relation to who they are as racially or genetically or biologically or anything like that. Things they don't choose, but voices are just fun. So yeah. I don't know how to. We used to be able to quote Louis C.K. about that, but that's not okay anymore.
No, that's...
I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing when, in this day and age, in this time that we're living in, where you can't really like do anything anymore. You can't be quote unquote offensive. Like, there's a whole movement right now where it's like a lot of either black people or Mexican, whoever, like saying like, oh, you can't do this thing because it's offensive to us or whatever, like white people rapping or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about like my experience. Like I grew up in Inglewood, where it's like predominantly black people, and then like the next population is like Latinos or whatever. And so like I feel like I was like those were my friends, those were my people. I'm not white, I'm Mexican, but like those were my friends. And like if I do like a sassy black woman voice, I feel like that's what I grew up with, that's what I know. And then to be then told like you can't do that, it's like, wait, what? But that's my experience, that's my life. Like, why can't I do that?
Does that make you, I guess, I mean, are you definitely doing a sassy black woman in that sense, or are you just kind of doing...
It's just the voice that I know that I grew up with.
Yeah, it's just
like,
people
it's not necessarily that I'm
that
thinking
way.
in my head, sassy black woman, but because of the stereotype sassy black woman, now I'm doing a sassy black woman thing, and I'm being offensive.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, not really.
But it's more that, like, no, that's my life that I grew up with. I mean, I know why it's offensive, but, like, if that's what I grew up with, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard thing, I guess, to sort out.
It's a stereotype for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, everything usually ends up being, I guess it depends on like how damaging is that stereotype to put into place, and how is that stereotype used? Because I don't think stereotypes are necessarily a bad thing if you are using them if you're basically recognizing them. It's when people like make decisions about it that impact the people involved in some, well, really anyway, I guess. But I mean, I think we're all pretty sensitive right now, so it ends up being kind of difficult to sort out that whole thing, but it's still, I don't know, it's complicated, I guess. But I guess the funny thing is like we started talking and you started listening to the Lifehacker podcast, but you have a fairly dark sense of humor, and I guess that's how you ended up over on Awkward.
Yeah.
Since we are weird and don't have a whole lot of boundaries here. But so did the dark sense of humor come from your circumstances? Because I don't remember if I was talking to you, Richard, about this the other day, or if I was just thinking it. But I feel like humor is kind of the thing that you need to, I guess, get through difficult things. It's a protective mechanism for us to feel happier about shitty circumstances. Do you feel like that it's like that for you, or you just have always kind of had that?
In high school, I remember the teacher said something about the Black Death, and I sort of chuckled. And one of the other people said, "What the hell was wrong with you? Like, millions of people died," and you start laughing. But I think it's gotten like darker. Dana Gold is one of my favorite comedians, and he has this bit about, anything can be funny. And he talks about how any whistle can be a rape whistle, except for maybe a slide whistle.
That's that would be a little uncomfortable.
But I find him hilarious. I was thinking the other day when I was watching this anime called King's Game, I should probably get this looked at, because I don't know if I'm like a high functioning sociopath or what. But then I realized that it was just my increasingly dark sense of humor.
Let's end on a couple of positive things. I don't know if this one will be, but I wanted to ask you, since you've kind of been with the show for so long and we've answered a bunch of your questions, how has that gone? We obviously haven't like screwed you up in any significant way at this point, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But was there any advice that was like really bad that we ever gave that you tried?
I don't think any advice that, at least for me, that you gave me was bad. Everything has worked. Well, except for that whole threesome thing, obviously, because I got...
What?
What was the threesome one?
Oh, my ex said she was came out as bisexual to me, and she was interested in trying a threesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That didn't work out, obviously, because I'm not with her anymore. We didn't get a chance to try that.
before we wrap it up, you mentioned already that you listen to like 90 podcasts or so. And you also wanted to share something about a Doctor Who scarf. So if you can work that one in, please go ahead. But what are some of your favorite shows that you listen to that, since you've kind of, I guess, run the spectrum and you like what we're doing, so maybe there are other ones that people who listen to this show would like?
Anything with, and you have to have a very certain type, I don't know if my microphone's picking me up, you have to have a very specific type of humor, but anything with Merlin Mann, John Roderick or John Siracusa is very good. But I don't know if this audience would be the same audience.
It might be to some extent because Merlin's on 5x5.
Oh, right, he is. I forgot it. Well, some of his podcasts are.
Yeah, no, he does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, I can't even keep up with him. Doctor Who podcast would be Radio Free Skaro, Reality Bomb, and Verity, which is an all-female, all women podcast talking about their views, which I like because as a cisgendered male fan, I don't see their points of views, obviously because I don't think the way they do, and I like to be able to see different views. The scarf, actually, I got from Patrick, who owns... I can send you the link.
You did.
You did?
Yeah, I got it on Etsy.
Yeah.
And that's from the show. That's scarves from the show? Or it's modeled after
pattern.
the show?
Yeah, it's a pattern from the show, from the Fourth Doctors.
I think Richard and I, we've been... when I don't remember, it was around Capaldi's emergence, I think we kind of lost track of the show.
I watched about the first half of his first season, and I was like, nope, you're way too angry for me.
Heaven Sent, the episode Heaven Sent is basically what my life is, and I won't tell you because it's spoilers, but
is that an audio drama?
It's in the... Yeah, it's an episode. It's the...
Oh, you're talking about documentary. Okay.
Yeah, it's the last season, so the season before Bill Potts. It's the previous season, series 9, I think. And that's in the monologue from that speech, from that episode. The speech is in the playlist I sent you.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll keep all those things in. I started putting them in already, but we'll get all the links into the show notes in case anyone's interested in checking out some of the stuff we talked about. Mathœyós, thanks for joining us and telling us your story.
Yep.
And,
nice to be here.
All right. Well, that's I think pretty much all we have for today. Although we were going to try to come up with a flower for you, colored flower for your story title.
I need a cool title, folks, that has a color and a flower in it. Color and a flower.
Yeah, like White
or
Rose, but you found out that was already
Purple Orchid, but he doesn't like that.
I was thinking Horizon Gone.
That's neither
that sounds
a flower
like
or
a fantastic science fiction title.
Dead Horizon.
Instead of Horizon Dawn, Horizon
so
Gone.
This is a title.
I like Horizon now.
Yeah,
this is a title. That's I feel like that. Yeah, just hang on that word for a second. My problem with Horizon is that it feels science fiction-y because of Event Horizon.
Yeah, just like desert, Red Desert feels like an army operation.
Which it could have been, but
like
more importantly, it was, or as important, it's the name of two films, a Western and then some other movie. I think it's an Italian.
So if you have a cool flower in mind,
you
can pair it with a flower and make it sound like a spy's name.
Yeah, otherwise do what everyone else does and name it after a snake.
A group name would be good. Colors are cool. Red Sparrow is fantastic, but it's the name of a Jennifer Lawrence spy movie that's coming out.
That sounds much more like a spy movie than Red Desert. Much more.
Yeah. And you can't do desert rose as we discovered earlier.
Why not white crow? Ooh.
White crow. What about
I think white crow is taken.
Ever white.
So this is
That's
for,
the point.
No, that just doesn't make sense. It's just not logical.
You know, white crow, white moon. I was thinking white moon. Red moon. No. Is the word red throwing you guys off because you hear red and you think like soldier and that whole world?
Desert.
Well, you could come up with other words for red, like
else.
burgundy. That's a darker, or vermilion.
Crimson crow.
Crimson.
Or crystal.
Crimson's common. That one gets
Crimson
picked a
skull.
lot.
The
Crystal
red skull.
sun. Crystal moon.
Sounds like a fantasy movie.
Yeah, that crystals are really. Yeah, that's a fantasy trope.
We're gonna let the listeners handle this one. Peace
Yeah.
out, guys.
But what are they naming?
Do you know where to go,
Just a
though,
spy
listeners?
Something. Yeah. Okay.
Where do you go? You go to awkward.email. Right now. Go to awkward.email. Let us know how we can help Mr. Buttersworth with his title. And I guess we could also make that a giveaway. If someone comes up with a title that
be approved by Duncan.
yeah, of course. If Duncan likes the title and accepts it, we'll send you I don't know, one of our awkward fun packs that I don't remember exactly what's in them. Oh, you can
And
get
the
them on
Snickers
Amazon
bar.
though. I completely forgot about that. We have a bunch of stuff you can do to support us now, and I was trying to make that easier. So, you had options if you wanted to help out, because we could use it. But if we made a bunch of stuff, and there's some stuff on Amazon, and I will put a link in the show notes to this, which you can find at 5by5.tv/awkward/ what are we on, 195 today?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can go there and find a link there. We're still getting a lot of the stuff up. It'll be on awkwardhuman.com. But I forgot that Amazon checked in the shipment of all these things. We have stuff from the future, the art show. We have stuff from some stickers that we put together, stationery kits, which are not like, your grandma's stationery, but the stuff that we draw on the table.
There's fun stuff.
Yeah, you can find out what's in them. I think Eric is getting a little antsy. So we'll call it a day, but we'll be back at you next week. As usual, we missed last week because New Year's problems, but we're good
Bye,
to go.
guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Got a weird question, comment, or story for the Awkward Human Survival Guide? Send it in. Really seriously, send it in, and please send it in. We want it really bad. You can do that in all sorts of ways on awkward.email. Yes, that sounds weird, but you literally just type awkward.email into your web browser, and it's like a regular website. It pops up our fancy contact page, made lovingly by Connor Vickers, one of our favorite listeners and an awesome developer. If you're more of a phone person, you can just go ahead and call or text us at 509-AWKWARD. We love voicemails. We love hearing your questions in your own voice and your own words. It's beautiful. So do all of that. Send us stuff. We love hearing from you. Also, check out our website at awkwardhuman.com. Follow us on Twitter at awkwardhsg. That's HSG as in Human Survival Guide. And on Facebook at facebook.com/awkwardhumangroup. Before we go, a special thanks to Renee Weiss for the theme music for free, and whomever wrote this ending theme you're listening to right now. It was a royalty-free track we paid for, so they don't get any fucking credit. They got money instead. Anyway, that's all we got for you this week. Thanks again for listening. Please send in your questions, comments, and whatever stories you may have, and we'll talk to you next week.